Thank you, Senator.
Next, I'll call on Senator Peters.
Thank you, Senator Hagerty. Ambassador, welcome to the committee. Good to see you here today. Ambassador, as I know you're fully aware, as part of the USMCA trade agreement, the United States, Mexico, and Canada agreed to review and potentially renegotiate the terms of the agreement beginning July of 26, coming up very shortly. Last month, your office concluded a public comment period which was designed to help guide the office's perspective as you enter this mandatory review. This was followed by 3 days of public hearings last week on the trade agreement, and both these comments and hearings will ultimately assist the drafting of the report to Congress on the posture heading into this review. So, Ambassador, I just want to impress upon you and your team on the importance of open lines of communication between the USTR and Congress during this process. We were able to craft and approve the USMCA in 2020 because of bipartisan collaboration in Congress, as well as tremendous public input that went into that. For that reason, as you approach the start of the review period next summer, I implore you to maintain open and close communication with not only Congress, but businesses, workers, local governments, and other stakeholders to ensure the terms of the USMCA improve, not regress. You and I have spoken about how important trade is, both in Mexico and Canada, the state of Michigan, and having two of the busiest border crossings in North America with Canada. This is something of incredible importance to my state as well as to the country. So my question for you is, what are both your and the administration's priorities as you enter into this review process?
Thank you, Senator, and I appreciate the engagement we've had, and I commit to have my office and myself at disposal of you and anyone else who wants to talk about USMCA and other trade matters. And again, we just finished our public consultation period and hearings, so we're still forming a lot of our views. I can tell you, though, first and foremost, I want to make sure that our trading partners are following their current commitments. We have situations where Mexico is not following all of its commitments. We're working closely with them. They're being pragmatic. We've identified areas where we think Canada is falling down on their commitments. I don't have to talk about dairy too much in this group. Everyone knows. But in addition to compliance with the existing agreement, we'd like to see a situation where the rules of origin really benefit content from the United States and of course from Canada and Mexico. But we want to make sure that the agreement is truly for American workers and American businesses, and that's who it benefits. And that means a conversation about rules of origin. We did it for autos in the first Trump term. My sense is that on non-auto items, we also need to do this. We need to make sure that the terms of the agreement are benefiting American producers and workers. There are a variety of other things we can look at too, but that's one of the key things I'm looking at right now.
And the open communications, we'll be able to talk regularly because this is obviously
Yes.
critically important.
Yes, of course. Yep.
I have your commitment to do that.
Yes, my staff will be available. I'll personally be available if you want to talk to me.
Question for you, are you concerned that the administration's really unprecedented usage of certain emergency powers, specifically IEPA, to impose tariffs both on Mexico and Canada is going to make it less likely that these countries are going to be willing to make the kinds of changes to the trade agreement that are advantageous to our domestic industries, because we have to do a lot more? It seems to set a pretty difficult environment to go into these negotiations. What are your thoughts?
I think it makes it more likely. I mean, these other countries, they don't really respond to moral suasion. They respond to enforcement, and tariffs are enforcement. When we talk about enforcement, it's tariffs. That's how it works. That's how we are able to generate compliance. That's how we're able to generate market opening. Like I said, I've been working with the Mexicans over the past 90 days in the negotiation process for compliance, and they've come a long way. I think that we need to, when we say we want enforcement of agreements, we need to understand that enforcement means you impose tariffs if people aren't complying, and it's quite a motivator.
Well, in February, the Trump administration placed tariffs on Canada in an effort that was claimed related to fentanyl trafficking. You and I spoke about this at the time. And as we discussed, I'm absolutely focused on addressing the threat of fentanyl. It is a scourge that we have to be focused on, and as ranking member of Homeland Security, it's what we do on a daily basis. And any amount of fentanyl crossing the border is too high. I think we all agree on that. But in reality, very little of the fentanyl entering the United States is actually coming from Canada. So it's unclear why the administration has taken such an aggressive action against one of our greatest allies and friends and trading partners, who have certainly demonstrated a willingness to work on a cooperative basis on border security, something I do regularly with our Canadian counterparts. So how can the administration justify continuing the tariffs that are related to that, since the main consequences are actually increasing prices for Americans, threatening American businesses? We heard from one of my colleagues in particular what's happening in her state as well, when we are working very closely with Canadian border security folks. They are as focused as we are, and yet we're raising prices for Americans.
So in the first place, most Canadian goods come over duty-free because they comply with the rules of the USMCA, which the Senate passed in 2020. Second, and I'm happy to share some of this with you, but publicly, we know that there continue to be giant foreign-funded labs in Canada where they're producing fentanyl, and that is unacceptable. And I agree with you. We work well with the Canadians on border security and fentanyl issues, but they have giant foreign-funded labs in Canada that produce fentanyl, and that has to stop.
Senator Britt.